Hi, I'm Karemmy, and I'm so glad you're here. This is Choices, where trauma and truth collide. This podcast is for parents, foster parents, caregivers, or honestly anyone who is walking alongside a child who has been through severe trauma. And truly, they're seeing all of the issues that come with that, and they want real understanding, real life, practical answers, not just surface level. So here, we talk honestly about what trauma is, what it does, and what actually helps. So with that, let's dive into today's conversation.
And that's something too that, as you're saying, it's not, I don't know, I feel like everything that we do at House of Providence, it feels like we're the first ones.
Right. It's
we
not
hear
intuitive.
Right. It's definitely not intuitive. And I've even heard people will say there is no such thing as a maladaptive behavior. And we just don't agree with that,
No,
right? Because if
not
we
at all.
agreed with that, then we're disagreeing. Well, then you can't help it. That would mean that I'm not agreeing that redemption is possible.
Yeah.
That you're just doomed,
Yeah.
for lack of a different word.
Yes.
That you're just doomed to what happened to you when you were
Yeah.
4 years old. Good
Yeah.
luck. We don't believe that.
No.
We don't ascribe to that, not because we're haughty, not because we're prideful. I know
And it might take time
yes,
to develop
100%.
new neural
Yes,
pathways. It might take
yes.
time to lay
Yeah.
that down. But I don't believe that you could never stop punching someone in the face.
Right.
I've been punched in the face many times.
Honestly, yeah, I was about to say many
Here
times.
at Hop,
Yeah.
many times.
We have.
But sitting in it with that child, and if you're not willing to sit in the mess, then don't just lob platitudes.
Yes,
I
Mag.
sit in the mess. I sit in the mess. And so I'm willing to say, like, nope, you're better than that. You're going to choose different than that. We talk about, and I know this is really sort of pop culture, popular psychology, if you will. All of your feelings are welcome here. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I add the addendum, all of your behaviors are not.
That's so good. That could be a tagline, man.
All of your feelings are welcome here, and we want to unpack those and validate those and walk with you in that. But all of your behaviors are not welcome because
That's
I
so
believe
good.
you have choices. And again, a continuum. It'll take you time to get there,
Yeah.
but I'm willing
Yeah.
to walk with you in the mess and try to help you outrun those things so that we can lay them down and you can realize, wait, I was traumatized, but I'm an incredible person.
Yeah.
And that's where truth and trauma collide.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love all the how much is just coming out,
Yeah.
Naturally, and talking about trauma and talking about attachment. And I don't know how much time we have. Mag and I could sit here and talk for literally
Truly.
the entire day, right?
Truly.
But I've realized, we keep saying trauma, we keep saying attachment, and all these things that you and I know what we're saying. But let's say that we have a listener who they have their definition of trauma. They have their definition of attachment that they've heard, that they've learned, or maybe right now as they're listening to us, they put us on pause and they're ChatGPTing it or whatever. They're just like, wait, what is that? And they're probably getting 17 different opinions.
Yeah.
Right? So for the sake of, we don't want to assume that someone knows what you and I, what House of Providence, what our foundation is for trauma and for attachment, those big buzzwords surrounding this. So I think that it would be helpful to kind of give a definition, maybe unpack, because we don't want to take for granted, assuming that people know. Like when we say trauma, this is what we're referring to. And when we say attachment, this is what we're referring to. Maybe like a macro view, because I know if we get into the micro, again, we'll be here for 3 years.
Yes, getting in the weeds for sure. So trauma, so in unpacking those words, let's start with trauma, like you had said. Trauma is any event that severely impacts a person's physical, emotional, or psychological self.
Okay.
So that is trauma. Again, like we referenced earlier, that can be a car accident, that can be a natural disaster, that can be something catastrophic. It can be a crime that you fell victim to. The interesting thing is that two people could experience the same event and one person synthesizes it as a trauma and the other person does not.
Really?
Yeah, so
So it's not necessarily objective.
correct.
Oh, okay.
So it's how you synthesize it. in your being. And that could be someone's resilience could play into that. I went through it. Oh, I was in a terrible car accident. I moved on with my life and I have no triggers from it. I jump back into the car and I'm driving and it's fine. Another person might take loads of support for them to get back behind the wheel or get back on an expressway or drive near a truck. They've synthesized it as a trauma, and so they need some support to process that trauma and get on the other side of it. Now, when someone is traumatized, that would indicate that you have organized your life, your identity, your psyche, your relationships around the trauma. Again, that doesn't have to be one event. It could be that acute and prolonged trauma. You have lived in neglect for many years. You've lived in a human trafficking situation. You've lived in extreme abuse or domestic violence or whatever for many years. And now you are a traumatized person because you have organized your life. You have situated yourself around that trauma.
Okay. That's really helpful. Specifically, I feel like I'm still stuck at a minute ago when I was like, trauma isn't objective.
Right.
You know, I know you and I, we've joked around about situations that we may be in and we're like, that was so traumatizing.
Right.
You know, and we kind of said a little tongue in cheek and sometimes it might be a little, maybe it's a little insensitive.
Yes.
But that sometimes people can take something and it's so easy to call something trauma when it's not. And I think that it's kind of goes back to what you were saying. It's unkind, it's unfair, and it's disrespectful to call something that's trauma for someone when it's not, and vice versa. That's not trauma. You're fine. You're fine. Just because if it happened to you, maybe it wouldn't have been traumatic. And recognizing, recognizing that the kids that you and I work with, they truly...
It feels disrespectful for me to see people that we have in our society today. I mean, there is a savant-like ability that some people have to position themselves as a victim in everything. They could be at Chick-fil-A and somehow they're a victim.
It's so true.
And they are saying, my pleasure, like that you're not a victim. But you know what I'm saying? Like there are people who can make themselves a victim in situations. It's mind-blowing to me. And I think that if you are so easily traumatized, if you are so easily victimized, you don't understand the perspective of what a real trauma is. And your world is way too small. And so being around real victims helps give you a perspective that your maybe former life would assume was a 10, and you're like, that's not even a 1. And so perspective is really important. And I think it distills things down to help you understand to not take yourself so seriously, to let things roll off, and to not make mountains out of molehills.
And even the moments that you do, it's okay.
You
know, it's okay. Move on.
But it's not a trauma. I was watching Survivor. It's my favorite show. You know that.
Yes, I do know.
I'm not a show person. I'm not a TV person. I'm so ADHD. But I have literally never missed an episode of Survivor.
Are you serious?
We're in the 50th season. Yes, we are.
I love how you say we. We are. As in like you have some like.
And one of the contestants said on the show that being blindsided at tribal council in the vote was a trauma. And I was triggered by it.
Wait. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Yeah. I'm like, this is not a trauma.
So were they joking?
To your point.
Wait, were they joking?
No. Absolutely.
So the point of the show is traumatized. But they knew.
I believe he was even misty.
No entiendo.
Right.
No, like that's very much a thing whenever, you know.
Yes.
Just, I don't.
So trauma, it's a very nebulous concept to unpack, for sure.
Well, I think speaking of another nebulous concept.
Yes.
Attachment.
Yes.
Trauma, attachment. I mean, Mag, how many times have we talked about attachment styles and what that looks like?
Yes.
I mean, how many times do I feel like I'm diagnosing myself?
Yes.
With my attachment styles, and because I want to get it right, I want to be healthy, I want to be well, and walk alongside people to help them find, healthy attachments, because the enemy would love nothing more, than for you to be alone.
Yes.
Or I should say, believe you are alone.
Yeah.
and to
Or
believe you're
even
alone.
be alone.
And be
You're
alone.
not
Yeah,
wrong.
exactly.
Because
To be
you're
alone,
most
believe.
vulnerable when you are siloed. That is
Yes.
even in nature. Do you ever watch
Yeah.
Nat Geo? The lions that are prowling around don't go to the leader of the
No.
herd, the strongest that's leading. They look for the outliers, the
Yeah.
little kind of weak orphan scragglers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Attachment style leads directly into that.
Yeah. And with that, like as we were saying with the enemy, he would love nothing more than to isolate
Yep.
you. But so much healing
Yes.
happens in relationship,
Yes.
in healthy relationship,
Yep.
not perfect relationship.
Correct.
And I think that so often in this pop culture, the word toxic is used more than tissue paper.
Right.
I don't understand. Like
Yeah.
it's just that's toxic, that's this, that's unhealthy. That's
A
just because
parent
someone
that challenges a child in their negative
Maggie,
behaviors or
I can't. You're being
you're
unkind to your
you're toxic.
toddler
No.
by letting her. Maggie, we're about
Yes.
to offend some people.
Yes.
By letting
Let's get
her,
back
yeah,
on
let
track.
me
Okay,
get back.
attachment.
Let's stop. Yes, attachment. But he'd love nothing more than to isolate us,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
for us to be like, nope, I don't want anybody. I don't want anyone around me because. A lot of times it's because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt anyone that I love, or I don't want to be hurt, or a mix of
Or
both.
been there, done that.
Yep. No, thank you. Right.
Not worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, who are you to tell me?
Yeah.
Let's bring in some relationships. Let's bring in
Yeah.
some healthy peer relationships or mom and dad, whatever that looks
Yes.
like relationships. So with that, then trauma directly affects attachment.
Yes.
100 million trillion %.
Yes.
So in terms of defining how here at House of Providence,
Yeah.
how we view attachment.
Yeah.
What would
So
you say?
again, to not take for granted that people know where we're coming from
Yeah.
or what we're speaking of.
Yeah.
Attachment theory really started in the 1950s with
So it's not like
brand new.
yeah,
no.
it's pretty much yeah.
A man named John Bowlby, and he would say that there are 4 attachment styles. So there's
Okay.
one sort of healthy attachment style, and then there are 3 others that are unhealthy.
Okay.
So the healthy attachment style is known as secure, a secure attachment style. That comes from a childhood where the data you're receiving from your caregivers, your parents, is telling you the world is safe, that your needs will be met, that you can rely on people, you can trust people, and it gives you a foundation that says, I can cooperate with others, I can have relationship with other people, I can share, receive, there's reciprocity. And that's secure attachment. Then we have the 3 others, which are anxious, avoidant, and disorganized.
Okay.
And those are the insecure attachments, if you will. So anxious would be someone who feels very, very needy, very panicky in relationships, very unloved. They're not good enough. They're always looking for you to acknowledge the safety of their relationship, that you love them, that you're there for them. You're constantly proving to that person, we're okay. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here. They're very anxious about their intimate relationships, friendships, those kinds of things.
Okay.
Then we have avoidant. Avoidant is this sort of silo. The name would express it. They're avoidant of intimacy, of close relationships. They want to do everything themselves. It's much easier if I just handle it myself than try to rely on you because you're probably going to do it wrong or let me down anyway.
Yeah.
Not safe to be in relationships. Being alone is the safest place, and they really pull away when intimacy starts to feel overwhelming to them. They back up,
Now, that's different
backtrack.
than independence.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we have this sort of hybrid amalgamation of both that's disorganized, where people sort of ebb and flow in and out of this insecure, the anxious and the avoidant, and whatever the situation would call for from their perspective. And this comes from, excessive childhood trauma, that they just can't quite get their bearings. I need you. I need to be alone. It's not safe to be with you, but I need you, but I don't want to be with you. And it's just exactly what it sounds, chaotic. A disorganized attachment. So those are the 4 attachment styles. And again, all of these are developed through the I guess, data collection that we do in our early years where.
When you say early years, what are we saying? Birth to?
4.
Okay.
Trust, mistrust.
Starts as simple as if I cry, my mom, my caregiver, will come and feed me.
Will come
or hold me.
and hold and rock and soothe. That internal voice, that internal dialogue that we get and we develop as we grow comes from the external voices that speak to us when we're little.
Okay.
You're sad, you can't regulate, you're crying, I come and pick you up and I'm, shh, it's okay, I got you. That then you develop a sense, an ability to self-soothe, to regulate yourself. Well, we know the kids who come to us at 7, 8, 9, 14, 15, 16 years old here at House of Providence, they have not been soothed as little ones. They never got the, shh, it's okay, it's okay. They cried, nobody regulated. And so part of our job is to replicate that internal voice by externally co-regulating and teaching them how to calm that amygdala down. You can soothe, you can calm. It's okay. It's okay. We got you. We got you. And eventually they can start to regulate themselves. But they're, again, it's a can't when they come to us, not a won't.
Yeah. And it's often
attachment plays a direct role in that.
Now with that, specifically attachment. And honestly, Mag, there's so much in those 4 styles. I have like 17 questions.
Right.
Maybe we should do another episode just talking,
I
just
agree.
talking about them, right? Especially when
really unpack them.
Really unpack, because we all have an attachment style.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, I'm none of those.
Yes.
Well, by that answer, I can probably guess which one you probably are, if that's your answer.
Exactly.
And wanting to just talk through, okay, maybe if you want to look at your family members, okay, which ones are they? At least my kids, like what can I look at to help them, whatever. So we'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know, with trauma and attachment, at least the 2 buzzwords that we're kind of talking about here, how would you say, let's bring it around, how would you say this would apply to us having choices, right? We're talking about all these things, the trauma, it's so heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy, and I think that some people do, and I know I have. That's why I can just say this so freely. I have not always done the perfect or greatest job at just sitting in the heaviness and recognizing that it's heavy and not just shooing it away.
Yeah.
And pretend like, no, this is not heavy. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's heavy.
Yeah.
So come ready.
Yeah.
Come ready to attack this with the Messiah, with the modalities, with the education, with the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Believing in neuroplasticity, believing in the redemption that God has, right? All of those things, when we're looking at all that heaviness, how does that play into choices, right? Like, how does trauma and attachment, how can we say now choices apply to that?
I think that everyone in the situation has to acknowledge that they have choices. The parent, the biological parent, the foster or adoptive parent, the child, the siblings, we all have choices. And we can make whatever choice we want. We can hold on to our maladaptive behaviors. Yeah. We can choose the hard road of healing that is so painstakingly difficult. We all have choices, and we get everything that goes along with those choices. Yeah. And one of the most difficult things as a parent is to release the child with their choices.
Oof.
One of the most difficult things.
Especially when you've done everything.
And you don't know how to give up on kids. And you love them. Yeah. And the child coming to the place where they finally acknowledge, I have a responsibility in this. It's not just what happened to me. Now I'm happening to my life. And I have some responsibility and choices. So I think it's really, really multifaceted. And again, remembering it's a journey. It's a continuum of healing. And trauma, man, it does disrupt attachment.
It's so bullying.
It's such a bully, and it does disrupt attachment. And then attachment, when it is insecure in any of those three ways, it disrupts identity.
Yeah.
But like we've said from the beginning, choices. The most pernicious lie I think we can attach to is that you don't have choices. You will always be broken, and there's nothing you or anybody else can do about it. You are the sum total of your trauma and what has happened to you.
Yeah.
And we just don't believe that.
Yeah.
We just don't believe that. We don't believe it's an easy road. We don't believe it's linear.
Yep.
And we don't believe it's clean.
Yep.
But we believe it's possible.
Yeah. Truly. With the Lord. And I'm going to give a quick caveat. If you have a therapist out there that ascribes to that belief that you will always get
Yes.
the heck out of Dodge, get
Yes.
out of there, because that's not
Yes.
biblical. It's not grounded in theology.
Yes.
And I think that again, another episode,
Yes.
talking about therapy and how that can be.
Yes. The great triangulation, if you don't have
Yep.
someone who agrees with the attachment to the parents and agrees with the journey toward healing, and that the trauma is not the identity.
Truly, truly. So as we wrap up today,
Yeah.
was there anything else you wanted to say?
I don't think so.
I mean, I should say relevant to this
Right.
right now,
Yeah, yeah.
right? 'Cause we'll talk
No.
forever. We'll talk the rest of the day. I'm so excited. I know I keep saying that, and it's just because I am. I'm so
Yes.
excited for what this podcast is hopefully going to bring healing
Yeah.
and encouragement. And I hope that the viewers hear our hearts
Yeah.
and that hear the encouragement, and that we never want to come off as haughty or prideful, or that we know, but we also know we're experts in what we're talking about.
Yes.
We know attachment, we know trauma,
Yep.
but we know the answer.
Yes.
And that's what we're here to share is
The hope.
The hope,
That
truly,
attachment
the true
repair-
great hope.
And repair in all of these areas, the repair in all of these areas is possible.
Yes,
It is
But it's
available.
only possible with your choices
And your
right?
cooperation.
And your cooperation. It all comes
Yep.
together. So I am so excited as we're going to unpack as the episodes unfold
Yeah.
and seasons and whatever the Lord has,
Yeah.
where we get to talk about the trauma
Yeah.
that's so real, but
Yeah.
the truth that is also so real,
Yep.
it colliding.
And truth trumps.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And someone who we're going to have on our next episode, I'm very excited to really talk through what was the moment that she realized that her trauma was no longer in charge. That was not her identity. And how was she able to extract herself from that and realize that she could build any life she wanted? And she has, and she's really, really incredible. And I'm excited for everybody to get to meet her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Choices, where trauma and truth collide. So take one small step this week. It doesn't have to be everything, but one small step in the right direction. And remember, you are not alone. We're here. We'll see you next time.